You're listening to the Patriot Nation Podcast.
All right, welcome into another edition of the Patriot Nation Podcast. As always, a proud member of the CLNS group of podcasts. Make sure you download, subscribe to all of those great shows over there to get great Patriots content all week. Lot of stuff coming out of the combine this week in Indy, so make sure you follow along with all of us here. Tonight, it's the Patriot Nation Podcast with the guy Pat Lane here with Matt St. Jean. And Matt, we got some Patriot stuff to get into. We've been on hiatus for a week or so. Back at it this week.
Licking our wounds.
Yes, licking our wounds from the Super Bowl, digging out of a historic snowstorm up in the Boston area for me.
And in New York.
In New York, yes.
I think I saw it was like the 6th or it was definitely in the top 10 for most snowfall in Central Park in the last 150 years.
Wow, look at that. Yeah, but they said Providence got 37.9 inches of TF Green. They said it's the most of all time. And it's crazy to think. I mean, it's, I'm out of school again tomorrow. My wife's out of school again tomorrow. The kids have a 2-hour delay. So, but my wife and I both teach in cities. And so the town was able to kind of dig out a little bit better than the cities have been. I mean, some of the I teach in Taunton, and some of the like small streets still haven't been plowed out. Still have not been plowed out 3 days later. So it's kind of crazy. So
that's, one thing I will say about New York, we got it done fast. It was impressive how quickly. I mean, the snow ended on Monday, and Monday night, my fiance and I were able to just like walk down to the local bar and have a drink and get dinner with no issues. Nice. Everything is open, sidewalks are cleared, roads clear.
Good.
Yeah,
that's good.
Pretty impressive. We'll say it was funny. I was following the storm leading up. There's a weatherman I like who has a blog where he explains everything that goes into it, and he's very upset about all the people on social media who will, every time there could be snow, they're like 20 inches coming this weekend. And he was like, he always pushes back on that. And it was fun. It's like his Thursday blog. He was like, there's a chance this is severe. There's a chance it's, there's a full spectrum here. And then literally every update after that was, oh, it keeps getting worse.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, our worst fears. Like it's every bad thing that could have happened. And it was
it was bad. It was bad.
And
and as Goalie says, there's another storm predicted on Sunday as well. So I don't know what the problem is like you get to a certain point where it's like, where do you put it all? Where does it go? And that really then becomes the issue is like, you get these snow mounds that are huge on side streets and people trying to get out of the side streets. It's a mess. And so, you think about the kids at the bus stops and everything else. And it's just like, it's difficult to deal with just from a logistical standpoint of like, where do you put all of it?
I saw some headline about how there's like snow, like farms, I think they call it, where they dump all the snow that are filling up. And there's just no room for more. And I know down here in New York, not this snowstorm, but the one back in January, it was below freezing for like 2 weeks after that. So nothing would melt. It wouldn't go anywhere.
Right.
Thankfully, it's up in the 40s this week here. I don't know what it's like up in the Boston area, but I think some of this is going to melt before new snow comes in, which is good.
Which would be good. Yeah. I think it's projected. Yeah. It's projected to be in the 40s at least this weekend. It's a high 30s tomorrow and high 30s on Thursday, and then 40, 48, and 45 this weekend. So not too bad. And it looks like snow maybe middle of next week. I had heard Saturday or Sunday, but it looks like middle of next week. So,
well, and there's
see how that goes.
Like for us here, we might get an inch of snow tonight, or an inch of snow tomorrow, or an inch of snow Thursday night. Like it just seems like there's stuff that can drop like a dusting in the atmosphere. Right. I don't know. Yeah. It's also tough. It's tough on like social media or even your weather apps. I feel like they always exaggerate it because they just want the clicks to,
Well, 100%.
Say, oh, big things happening. Come click our website.
Yeah.
And it's hard to actually find reputable people who are like
Well, and I
accurate
also
and
think
honest about
too
the
that
forecast.
one of the things about the blizzard of '78 was that they didn't know. They just thought it was like, we'll get a dusting, and then all of a sudden it was this massive storm, and they were like, oh my god, it just came out of nowhere. So I think they always I always feel like they go on the higher end because of that, but I don't know.
Yeah. I want to transition this into something Patriots related real quick.
Let's hear it.
Let me go back. So I was looking at some Aaron Schatz his tweets or something on his website, just some data he was putting out there, and he had a list of the top team by DVOA for each season. It was just kind of mapping that onto who actually won the Super Bowl. It was interesting, but there was a piece of data in there that I did not know. Did you know that the 2009 Patriots had the number 1 DVOA in football?
Really?
The 10-6. So I had last week in some of my free time, I was like deep diving into that 09 Patriots team because as like when you look back in Patriots history, there's kind of like that weird gap where it's like, all right, 07 you lose the Super Bowl, and then 08 you don't have Brady, 09 it's a first round exit, 2010 you're great but it's a first round exit,
Yeah.
2011 you still go to the Super Bowl but the defense is awful all year.
Disaster. Yeah.
And it's just like there's this weird segment kind of in the middle of the dynasty there. And the 09 team, to me, is always like, well, that's the weakest of the bunch. And it was interesting to see that it was regarded as the top team. So I went back and looked at it, and I think there's a couple of reasons for that. They lost
59 to nothing doesn't hurt.
Well, this is how I was going to segue into it. 59-0 game against Tennessee with the October snowstorm, a game where no one knows that it's going to snow until like the day before the game, maybe the morning of the game.
Yeah.
And the Titans don't have the right cleats for it. And that's a mediocre Titans team, and the Patriots just dominate from start to finish because they're just not ready for that.
That game was wild. The cheerleaders were very not prepared for that game, like very not prepared for that game. And so when you see the cheerleaders were all, because it was like right before Halloween, so they were all in their Halloween costumes or whatever. But no one's in pants, no one's in jackets. They're coming out and they're like, oh my god, it's freezing out and it's snowing. Like, what is going on right now? So the second half they were a little bit more prepared, but that first half, I just remember looking at the cheerleaders being like, they must be having a tough time right now.
Well, and they talk about it on the Football Life they did that year with Bill Belichick, how they were preparing for rain that weekend because that was the forecast, and it wasn't until right before the temperature dropped. But then the other thing about that team, they lose 6 games in the regular season. In 5 of those games, the Patriots blew a second half lead, and in all 5 of those games, they lost by a single possession. You've got the early season loss in New York, where you've got that's not the one with the Randy Moss touchdown. I don't think that was 2010. I think they had the Randy Moss touchdown.
Okay,
the one-handed over Revis. But they go to the Meadowlands, and I think they're up 9-3 at the half, and they lose like 17-9 or 16-9, something like that. You have a game in Miami where you're up by 2 scores late in the second half, and you lose 22-21. Brady throws a pick late in that one. You got the loss in Denver with those old yellow and brown uniforms, and Josh McDaniels celebrating.
Josh McDaniels, right? In OT.
Yep, again, and that was Patriots blowing a double-digit second half lead. You got the game in Indianapolis, famously, multiple massive second half leads in that game, and it all comes down to that 4th and 2. I don't remember what the one other. They have just the loss in Houston at the end of the year where Wes Welker gets hurt.
Yes, tears up his knee. That, of course, is the famous year where the one loss that wasn't a 1-score loss was the famous game in New Orleans where they got blown out. And you know, there's the clip of Belichick telling Brady, "I just can't get this team to do what I need them to do." You know, it's interesting. So it's just, but it is. It's that was a talented team, and they just, you know, and that was the 50th anniversary. So they played a bunch of those games, including that crazy snow game in the throwback reds, which was dope. You know, and they even had the officials in those like orange striped, old school AFL officials. So that was cool.
And that
was a good
season,
team. And then of course they get blown out by the Ravens in the first play of the game, right? First play of the game, Ray Rice for whatever, 80
Well,
some odd yards or whatever.
Well, I think that's the thing with that team in particular. Defense had a penchant of giving up big plays. Oh, in particular, there was no pass rush to speak of. So when you had leads, you couldn't press that with the pass rush to force opponents into mistakes to make things tough, which you still win 10 games. You're still a good team. You're still a great team, even by a lot of these. Pro Football Reference's internal metric has them as the number one team in football that year, too. But when you're going against some of those top teams, the Saints game where they get killed, the Saints it's just explosive play after explosive play. The Colts explosive play after explosive play. Miami with a couple explosive plays late in that game, and that upset. I mean, you give 34 points to a Texans team that, I mean, they had a top 10 offense that year, but and I will say that is Kyle Shanahan, Matt LaFleur on that team.
Well, and then the Ravens, they're down 24-0 after the first quarter, for God's sakes. It was just
and they had that Patriot team when things went bad, especially in the second half, it spiraled quickly, and it just happens from the jump in that Ravens game. Like you look at how quickly it happens. It's literally first play touchdown.
Yep.
3rd and 11 for the Patriots immediately. Third play of the next drive, strip sack.
Yeah.
Sets up the Ravens in the red zone. Touchdown. 3 and out. 3 and out, 3 and out. Sorry, it's back-to-back 3 and outs. Brady throws a pick, which sets them up almost in the red zone, touchdown. And then another pick sets them up in the red zone, field goal, and it's 24-0.
Yeah.
Especially with no Welker. And I noticed the thing with Randy Moss, too. When you look at his stat lines in New England, after week 10, week 11, and in all 3 seasons, full seasons he played in New England, he was not nearly as productive. Because he had over 1,000 yards. He led the league in receiving touchdowns that year. And yet you can tell down the back half. That, I think, is really when the old age started to settle in for him. Because next year he gets traded. He's kind of out of the league by 2011. Comes back for 2012 and is not very good. And that's it.
Right. Yeah, it's one of those things, But yeah, that's losing Wes obviously hurt them. And then I still say that the only guy that showed up for that playoff game was Kevin Falk. He's the only guy that did anything that day.
No, and Edelman.
Edelman. Yeah, that's true.
Edelman had a good game in that one. It is funny that defense ranks 5th in points allowed, 6th in points per drive, 11th in yards. If you look at who's playing for that defense, the sack leader is Tully Banta-Cain with 10. No other player has more than 5 sacks. Your interceptions leaders, it's tied Brendan Merriweather and Lee Bodden. 2 guys who basically never played as much in a season after that as they did that year. I think Lee Bodden basically didn't play again after that season. He was very good that year. Your tackles leader, Gerard Mayo, obviously great player, but then Gary Guyton, who again never played as much as he did that season again in the NFL.
Nope.
Brandon McGowan, James Sanders. James Sanders was a good player. Ty Warren, who was just fine at that point. Jonathan Wilhite, Sean Springs. I think this is a rookie Patrick Chung.
It was a mess. That was a wild defense.
The fact that Belichick was able to get that performance out of that defensive unit that season against it was a very hard schedule too.
I'm saying
maybe one of his more underrated coaching jobs ever, especially because Brady was not himself that year. I mean, that was his ACL recovery year, and he was good, but he wasn't Brady. That's, and I think in terms of his own quality of play, that's probably the worst season he had in New England once he became the established starter outside of maybe 2019.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. So, all right, let's get into current day Patriots
real quick, because someone had asked what DVOA is. So
yes,
it's an advanced stat. I think it's defense adjusted value over average, but I don't know for sure. Basically, it's a stat that measures what an average team would do in a certain situation, given taking into account how good the other team is, and then measures how you perform in that situation, and then looks at that difference and just kind of measures that as a percentage over the course of the season.
Correct. Yes. So that Tate is correct here. It is defense adjusted value over average. That is true. Is what it stands for. But your point is what it is. That's, and I try to explain it to someone as Because my dad asked me, he's like, what the hell does DVOA mean? And I'm like, you could go through the whole thing. And what basically it's just, it's putting stuff on an equal playing field, right? And I think of it like, the way I think of it, if you want to just think of it very simply, is like, okay, 3rd and 5, right? You pick up 6 yards on 3rd and 5. That's a great play, right? 6-yard gain on 3rd and 5 is a great play. A 6-yard gain on 3rd and 10, not a great play.
Not as good for play.
Right. And so that's kind of the idea. Or like you say, a 3rd and, a 6-yard gain against the worst defense in the league isn't as good as the 6-yard gain against the best defense in the league. And so you're just trying to put things into context more so than just, here's what happened on this play. Okay, yeah, fine, that's what happened. But let's get the context of the play a little bit more. And so it just adds a little bit more context to, like, as far as opponent and situation.
It's also probably worth noting, Patriots' like DVOA rating that year, I think, is one of the worst for a team that was considered the best in the league since 2000.
Yeah.
So it was a flat year in the NFL.
09 wasn't a great year for the NFL, but that's
and that's how you get Peyton Manning finally getting to another Super Bowl there.
Yep, and losing to the Saints.
That was a great game.
That was a great game. Tracy Porter. Yes, thank you, Tracy Porter.
I missed the onside kick, by the way, because I was still I didn't care that much about the Who, so I was downstairs playing like basketball with my friends on their mini hoop, and
I love it.
And older brother came down and let us know they kicked an onside kick, and we all went random.
Just like what's his face? What was his name? Nate? Nope. Who's the guy that dropped it?
The Packers player?
No, the Colts player that dropped the onside kick.
Oh, I have no clue.
He was dating what the hell's the girl's name? Kendra something. I don't know. One of the Playboy bunny girls or whatever. So this is like back. This is the crazy stuff. Okay, the 2000s were wild, right? The 2000s had a reality show at the Playboy Bunny Mansion with Hugh Hefner's like 3 girlfriends. And bro, it was crazy town. Okay. And so there were like 3 women that were like dating Hugh, and they lived in the Playboy Mansion, and they were like, bro, it was nuts. And so, anyway, but one of these girls, Kendra, I think her name was Kendra. Kendra, what the heck's her name? I don't remember. I don't even remember. It doesn't matter. Wilkinson. That's who it is. Kendra Wilkinson. She was dating. Yes. The Girls Next Door was the name of the reality show. 05 to 09. Her life in the Playboy Mansion was documented. Insane. She was dating Hank Baskett, who's the guy that dropped the onside kick. And so, at the time, they had just gotten married, so he was all in the news about this and that, and blah, blah, blah. And then he drops the onside kick, and everyone's like, "You got to make it." It was wild. So yeah. So there you go.
And then he only played one more year in the NFL.
Yeah, he wasn't a very good player, but whatever, So, anyways, that's how Hank Baskett is famous, for being married to Hugh Hefner's ex-girlfriend and also dropping the onside kick from to the start of that Super Bowl. So anyways. So there you go. There's a little bit of 2000s history that you didn't know about.
Look at that. We went from talking weather to 09 Patriots to Playboy Mansion. Welcome to our show, everyone.
Welcome to the show, people. Welcome to the show. I mean, shoot, and this is free. You don't have to pay for this. So let's get into the 2026 Patriots. A few things kind of left over. Of course, we did not talk about Terrell Williams, I'm sorry, getting promoted. Okay. And Zach Core taking over as the defensive coordinator, I think, is the right move. They did interview a few people. I think it was pretty clear that he was the guy for the job. He did a fantastic job in the playoffs. The game planning, the defense was fantastic. They were able to rush the passer at a significant rate. And they really did a great job with it. So, I'm happy to see that. I'm happy that he got the job, and they were able to keep Williams, because I think both of those things were important, and the fact they were able to do both, I think, was huge.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and I think this landed where we thought it would. I think the only concern was, would there be any hurt feelings or complications or drama created by trying to figure out the defensive coordinator situation? Yeah, and they figured that out immediately. There was no, and I think that they landed in the right place. I love Troy Williams. After what Zach Core did last year, you can't go back.
I agree.
For someone else.
Yeah,
like it's, he's awesome. I think he's a great coach, and that we talk about. When you want, like, when you have a good coaching staff, part of being a good coach is also training the guys behind you.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like they got a little pipeline going now, at least for the defensive coaching staff internally. So hopefully what they did last year is repeatable next year. I also think when we look at this offseason and we look at this draft, I hope they don't have to do I hope they don't have to rely on just the things they did in the postseason to find success next season.
Right.
I hope there are more things that they are good at.
Yeah, I agree. So, but yeah, so I think that was a good move by the Patriots. I'm happy about where they're headed. Looks like they've hired some guys, lost some guys, just from the lower end of the coaching staff spectrum. I don't think there's anything really to talk about there. Few guys in, few guys out. I will say that Ashton Grant. I was going to say Ashton Davis. That's wrong. That's the wrong guy. Ashton Grant, former Greyhound, Assumption Greyhound, lucky boy right here, is staying on as the QB coach as well. So I think that's good. Just to get the same people around Drake May. Keep the same people around Drake May. It worked last year. Let's kind of continue to grow him this year as well, and kind of go from there. So.
Well, I think that's one of the interesting notes in football right now too, is how much turnover you see with offensive and defensive coordinator positions across the league. Like if you get into one of those spots, and
I think there's 20 new coordinators this year.
I think that's just offensive.
Yeah, it's crazy.
If you are good at what you do for multiple years in a row as an offensive or defensive coordinator, odds are someone's going to come knocking. So part of building this good coaching staff is having next guys up. Having Josh McDaniels should hopefully alleviate the offensive side there for New England. Defensively, you've already, quote unquote, had a change there. Not really had a change, but kind of had a change there. You already like the next guy. So
yeah. Yep, I agree. So yeah, so there you are. The other thing I guess we'll talk about is Will Campbell. Right, the Will Campbell news. I guess it's not really news, but the Will Campbell, quote unquote news that came out where Vrabel, and Elliott Wolf both came out. He's a left tackle. He's going to stay at left tackle. They're going to leave him at left tackle. I think that for me, I look at it and say, this, at least for me, is one of those things where I look at it and say, you have to. You don't really have a choice. I will say, if you were on the edge about it, right? And this was an example, for example, right? The kid Ronnie Stanley from Baltimore, or another one came open, and you said, okay, we have a legitimate opportunity to get a legitimate left tackle here. I think that makes a ton of sense. But does it? Like, to me, it doesn't. So, like, there's nothing there. You have to let him play another year, see what happens. If he struggles against high-end talent the way he did down the stretch, then I think you have to reevaluate, right? But for right now, I don't think we have to do that, and especially where there isn't someone great available right now, I think you leave him where he is.
Yeah, I mean, I think you look at the opportunities, like Trent Williams might get cut.
Yep.
If Trent Williams was going to come to New England, I'd move Will Campbell for that.
Right.
And I will say, like, the Rasheed Walker report, I will say, when you read the report, The report isn't the Patriots are interested in this move. It's a different GM saying this is something I might consider if I was them. Like,
Right.
that's all that is. And I will say, like, on paper, I think you could get there. Like, you can understand why that might make sense in that Morgan Moses isn't getting any younger, played more snaps than anyone else last year at offensive tackle. And, if internally your perception of Will Campbell is we think he can be good at either side, or
Right.
we talked about this last year during and before the draft. I was kind of on board with the scenario, depending on how the draft fell, where you draft Will Campbell and you play him at left tackle. And if he's just okay and you're in a position to draft another left tackle, you can just draft a left tackle and kick him to right tackle where I liked him. I thought he could make that transition. Internally, if you think he can make that move, and Rasheed Walker is fine, he's like a B- left tackle. If you think that helps you get to your best 5, not just for 2026, but for 2027, 2028, 2029, I could buy into that. I'm also not one bit surprised to see Elliot Wolf come out today and say, no, we're not doing that. And, I think this is one thing we heard about Vrabel from his time in Tennessee. He's loyal to his guys. Will Campbell is one of his guys. I think I think the concern here, if there is one, is that he might be more likely to let Campbell stay at left tackle too long than to pull the plug too early if there are going to be issues there. And I, as someone who is a Will Campbell doubter, am not at a point where I'm trying to move him off left tackle right now, unless there is some kind of, again, like Trent Williams saying, yeah, I want to come play for your team and I want to do it for cheap and I want to play left tackle.
Right. And Nikhil makes a good point here too, that Rasheed Walker's just too expensive. Like, he's just not, he's a good player, not a great player. And so it's just like, okay, well, that's fine. But like, I'm not bringing that guy in to be my starting, stud left tackle, whatever. It's just not going to happen, and
it's a move that could make sense if you could save a lot of money by cutting Morgan Moses, but you can't save a lot of money by cutting Morgan Moses. So you might as well run it back with those two. And if you're going to address it in the draft somewhere.
Yes, 100%. Now, with that being said, if a guy drops, and Nikhil and goalie mentioned Monroe Freeling, if he drops at 31, well, then you make a decision. Okay, maybe we like this guy, and we're going to choose whether he's going to play left or right. I don't know, but so what? If at 31 he's there, great. That's kind of where I'm at. And so, and Vidarian Lowe, by the way, who's a free agent, I think for the right price, I would bring him back. I think he's a solid backup tackle. The question is someone going to pay him $10 million a year? And I don't know the answer to that question. It's possible. Someone might. I don't know. But, he played pretty well when Will Campbell was out. He wasn't great, but he was pretty good. And he
played like a good backup tackle.
and I think he has steadily improved every year he's been in the league. And I think that's the big thing for me. The question for me is, what is he going to get paid? That's what I worry about, is what's he going to get paid. And if he's going to get paid too much, then you can't bring him in.
If someone's wish casting what they've seen in that 4 or 6 game stretch, whatever it was, into him being a starting tackle in the league and decides to pay him like that, then he's going to play somewhere else next year. And
right,
I think regardless, you look at the tackle position, Marcus Bryant was someone who got passed over by Thayer Munford on the depth chart. Doesn't mean he can't be someone for you next year. You're going to bring him into camp and see how he plays, but you're not counting on him. Will Campbell was good but not great. Morgan Moses is getting older. Given that we don't know the Vidarian Lowe situation, even if we didn't know that situation, I think you're still drafting for the future here because you need guys. You want to have 8 to 9 offensive linemen you can trust to put on the field. That's the goal here. Do you ever really hit that number? Not necessarily. You're always going to have weak points. It's hard to find offensive linemen, but that's the goal. You're going to try to draft and develop towards that. So, whether it might not be a first rounder, but somewhere in this draft, I expect them to continue taking swings at tackle.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. You gotta reach out and try to grab another tackle for sure, I think. So
yeah. I will also note I know people have talked about like, oh, Will Campbell, like you don't want to move sides. That's harder than you think. It is. We shouldn't just assume someone can switch sides. We'll also say like Joe Alt went in the top 5, played left tackle, switched to right tackle, didn't skip a beat.
Right.
if you're talented, sometimes that's just enough. I think a lot of Patriots fans are scarred by like the Trent Brown and Okorafor and
Right.
like all the stuff that happened with those guys. And it's like the reason those guys moved around and the reason those guys couldn't stick anywhere is because they weren't good. Like
Right.
that's the problem was that they weren't good at either side. So
Yeah.
Will Campbell is someone who I think is so much more talented than those players, and also so much more bought in than someone like a Trent Brown. Like I think he's someone that you probably could move around and it would go just fine.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. So we'll see what they decide to do ultimately, but yeah. So we'll see.
One other thing is I think the Antonio Gibson release.
Yep.
I was surprised by this. He was a guy I just figured they would bring into camp and see how he's doing.
So I think I'm curious about why they did it, to be honest with you. My assumption is that they could always bring him back after his rehab. I also wonder if they just looked at it and said, we have 2 guys on the roster already we feel really good about. We just don't really need a third. We don't know what he's going to look like after the ACL. He's got 0 guaranteed money. So we move on, and this way it gives him an opportunity to jump in with someone else if someone else wants to pay him. You know what I mean? And so that way it's like you're almost kind of doing him a solid while helping yourself out, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't really make much sense to me, but that's kind of what I looked at.
Well, we're talking about a running back 3 who would be behind a guy you paid and a guy you drafted high who's a kick returner. Like, I'm not stressing about this. I am just curious. And I will say, when they made these types of moves last year, it panned out. Jawan Bentley didn't land anywhere. Who else did they cut around this time that was an injury thing? Someone else.
I'm
blanking.
Who the heck was it? You're right. And I can't think of who it was.
But it
doesn't matter.
It seems like, when they cut all those captains and stuff last year, like kind of nailed all those.
Yeah.
So
was it Bentley? Was Bentley? Bentley was hurt.
It may have just been Bentley. I'm thinking of. They seemed to do a good job with that last year, so I think they've earned trust there. Certainly. Oh, yeah. David Andrews. That's the other one.
Oh, Andrews too. Yeah.
Thank you, Nikhil. And it's like, all right, I questioned those moves at the time. They turned out to be correct on it. Let's see. That means I'm going to give them a little benefit of the doubt here.
Yep. Agreed. So, all right. Is that it
for housekeeping? Ad break and then a little 7-round
break, and
mock.
then we're going to a live 7-round mock draft coming at you. So this, of course, this ad break, of course, is for Prize Picks. Shoot your shot on Prize Picks and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. That's right. Prize Picks is now giving you $50 in lineups when you sign up and play your first $5. Prize Picks makes every dunk, every dime, and every board that much more exciting. So don't miss this chance to get started on America's #1 app for sports picks. Now, again, the new feature, they have early payouts. If your player gets off to a hot start, you now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. And with the new social feeds feature, you can share Prize Picks with your friends and copy lineups from winners with a single click. Copy lineups you like or use them as inspiration for your own picks. You can even follow Prize Picks partners like us and tail or fade our picks with just one click. Join millions of users and sign up for America's #1 sports picks app. The other thing I'll say to you is this, right? They've also been doing some kind of no sweat lineups as well. Put some money in, and if you don't get it, they give it back. They give that money back to you in lineups, but that's okay. And then you can try again. So, another thing that Prize Picks does, which is nice. Sometimes you just get an email that says, hey, no sweat. And it's like, oh, all right, like that. So what you're going to do is download the app Prize Picks, put in the promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Okay. So we're going to make sure you flip that to 7 rounds before we get started because you're still on 1 round there.
Yeah, let's do this. We'll do 7 rounds, turbo. I think we'll leave all the settings. Let's do no trades for this one. Let's
just leave it. I like the idea of doing no trades. I'm down with that. and we'll just kind of see where it takes us.
All right. Let us get into this. We'll start this draft.
Love to see it.
Let's see. Some interesting picks here. Arvell Reese going to the Jets. Jeremiah Love at 3. Anything calling to you in this list right now?
I'm having a hard time seeing it, but
We'll zoom in a little more.
oh yeah, there you go.
Mekhi Lemon in Miami is very interesting.
Terrell to the Rams. I like that.
Yeah.
Denzel
Boston to the Jets.
Woo, goodness.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I like that. Oh, Caden McDonald, another interior defensive lineman for the Eagles. Jesus.
Hello. Kenyon Sadiq to the Bills. That's crazy.
3 tight end sets to the moon. That's crazy.
That means in this world they have gotten rid of Dawson Knox.
Yeah, I suppose so. And then Concepcion here to the Concepcion. I like to call him Concepcion because it's more fun. To the Rams. That's a fun one. That's a real fun one.
So we'll look at some of the top names on the board here. At offensive tackle, a couple guys here in Caleb Lomu from Utah and Monroe Freeling. I think you just talked about him from Georgia.
Yes, we did.
I think an interesting name here, actually 2 interesting names I'm going to throw out at safety.
Yes.
Emmanuel McNeil Warren out of Toledo.
Yep.
And Dylan Thieneman from Oregon.
Yep.
I think Emmanuel McNeil Warren is essentially like the closest thing this year to Nick Emanwari.
He is, yeah. Yeah.
That type of guy. And Dylan Thieneman, I'm not sure how you say that. He's just kind of a do-it-all safety.
Yeah.
I like him a lot. Just from I haven't watched the tape yet, but just from his overall like profile and descriptions of what he's done well each season, someone who's kind of played different roles in that defense. I think he fits what the Patriots would like there. Mason Thomas at edge defender.
Mason Thomas, yeah.
Yeah.
Omar Cooper. Oh yeah.
The guy with maybe the best catch, not maybe, definitely the best catch of the season last year.
Yeah. And then
any names jumping out to you?
Pregnon is an interesting guy from Oregon. He's a guard. I like him a lot. I don't like him at 31. I'd love for him to somehow drop, or for the Patriots to maybe move up the draft board in the second round. In this situation, maybe the Patriots look at it and say, well, we don't really need a tackle, but we need a guard. What if we move back? What if we make a trade back to, say, 42 or something like that, right? Move back 10 or so, and then you kind of go back and figure it out from there, right? And see if he's there. Then maybe he can. Maybe that's not the case, but
I will say, I do not object to the concept of taking a guard here. I think when we look at some of the needs for the Patriots, guard is something they could solve in free agency potentially.
Yeah.
If you don't. And not saying we don't want to run into the Cole Strange thing again, but Pregnon is a bona fide top 50 guy,
right?
Someone you think is probably a plug and play starter from what I've seen with him. And I think if you just look at contracts that guards are getting big money right now. Like guards are getting similar contracts to like cornerbacks at this point.
Well, because the offensive line play in the league is down. And in college is down as well. Now, what I will say about this is that you see a guy like Ian Acher here, and I'm not sure if I'm even saying that right, from Arizona State. I like him a lot too. I think he's a solid right tackle. I think there's enough offensive linemen on the board that I kind of feel okay not taking an offensive lineman right now.
I tend to agree.
My biggest thing.
You also have Lomu and Freeling here, who people
and that's the other thing is that I feel like there's better offensive linemen there. I think Freeling might actually be the pick. My thought behind it though was that I looked at it and said, going into the draft, my thought was McNeil Warren at 31 if he was there. That was my thought. I just think the way defense is being played now, it's a copycat league, right? It's a copycat league, and you kind of see what has happened, around the league, and you see obviously the success that Eamon Wari had last year with the Seahawks, and I just think that this might be the fit for the Patriots. I do also just kind of think I didn't really think that Monroe Freeling would be there. Even Lomu, I didn't think would be there. And so I think that either one of those guys would be fine as well if you want to draft the right tackle. And I think that here's my thing, right? The question really becomes, do you want these guys to start right away? I think when you're talking about rebuilding your team, I want to draft a starter at 31, right? I think it's important to draft a starter at 31, right? Well, if you're drafting a guy like Monroe Freeling, he's not going to start for you unless you're getting rid of Morgan Moses, right? And so I don't know. Maybe you think he's that good; it doesn't make a difference. So, but anyways,
one thing I will say here,
Carlton,
I don't mind this guy not starting, whoever it is.
Yeah, right.
Because you look back at some of the moves that the Patriots made in the dynasty era. Like the draft isn't. It's important to remember, especially your first round pick. That's a 4-year contract with a 5th-year option.
True.
So you're not just drafting a guy who you think is going to be the best in year 1. It's about years 2, 3, and 4. And if you can draft a guy in the first round this year, even if you don't think he gives you a lot year 1, if he gives you a ton years 2, 3, and 4, you're fine with that. That's, I think, the best argument for tackle here.
It's a fair point, and that's exactly what they did with Matt Light. That's exactly what they did with Nate Solder. And so, I think I'm okay with Freeling here if that's the guy you want to take.
I think if he's
Lomu,
the guy
if
you
you
like
prefer
at
him.
tackle, I haven't watched either yet.
I would say Freeling is probably the guy I like a little bit better. It's close, but that's the guy I like a little bit better.
All right, we'll send that in here in a second. I will say, right now, the Patriots don't have a need at tackle. The Patriots might have a need at tackle if in week 3, Morgan Moses goes down with an injury. You need someone to play the rest of the year.
Yep, very true.
Someone who has had injury issues and who's older and has a lot of wear and tear on his body. Or, there's a world where you get to camp and it's like, all right, he just doesn't have it anymore.
Yeah.
He's older now. And the rookie beats him out for the job, in which case now you have the world's best swing tackle who's also a great locker room presence.
Yeah.
And I think you'd also rather be a year too early rather than a year too late on tackles in general.
That I agree with. So let's take Freeling.
I do think it's also worth noting people like Chris Bell. I haven't watched him a lot, but I just want to throw that name out here too.
Yeah. I mean, I think wide receiver is a position that makes sense too. They have a lot of needs.
One thing I will say, if Casey Conception was here, that would be my pick.
Yeah. I agree with you on that.
Over the offensive lineman, as someone who loves offensive linemen.
Yeah.
All right. Monroe Freeling?
Let's do it.
Well, how's the chat reacting to this?
People like Peter thought that edge is a bigger need, but he doesn't mind a tackle. Nikhil mentioned that edge is a deep class though. And
I'll throw in a comment.
Someone was saying Blake Miller was that they like better, but Blake Miller, I believe, is already off the board, so that doesn't.
I think I will say on edge, and this is what makes this tough. I think both guard and edge, 2 of the top 4 needs according to PFF here, are things they could fill in free agency. Edge in particular, this free agent class is just crazy deep.
Yeah,
like you can sign 2 starters in this class if you want to, and the Patriots have the money to do it. So you can fix that between now and draft day.
I agree, and they have some young guys at the spot as well that they don't, which they don't have at the tackle spot.
All right, we'll come up here. Pick 63. Top guys on the board: Chris Johnson, corner out of San Diego State; Josiah Trotter, linebacker out of Missouri; Kamari Ramsey, safety out of USC; Connor Liu, center out of Auburn; and defensive lineman Dominique Orange out of Iowa State. That's the top 5. Anyone else interesting you here?
I'm trying. Max Clare is not bad, but I don't know. I don't think he's the guy they want.
Yeah, I watched some Max Clare, only one game so far, but I was just not particularly impressed.
Yeah,
I don't think
he's fine. He's just not.
I wouldn't use a pick this high on him.
Yeah, I would agree. Oh, Nussbus.
Go quarterback here.
Oh my God, Jennings Dunker is there. Oh God,
you love Jennings Dunker.
Oh God,
Malachi.
Yes.
Yeah, he's low on this board right now. Was it the Senior Bowl he was at?
He was at the Senior Bowl. Best receiver of the Senior Bowl by a mile.
6'4", 222. Just really like big body
Yeah.
catch guy.
Yeah.
Um,
I love Malachi Fields. I think I think he has the chance to be a very good player. And so I
and
think
I think a big body wide receiver is what you're looking for
I
Drake
agree.
May as well. I think that's
Yep.
kind of what they need. I will say one thing we didn't touch on, but Elliot Wolf was incredibly non-committal on Stephon Diggs for next year. And Pat, I don't know if you can pull it up. There's a comment I'd started earlier about Stephon Diggs and his contract.
Yeah. I believe it was.
Should be starting there.
Yeah.
But
Isn't cutting Diggs an admission by Elliott that he gave him a bad contract?
it's in fact the exact opposite. You
I
give
would
him the contract you do so that you can cut him this year if you would like to.
Correct.
And I think the fact that legal trouble and Diggs not finishing the season strong. I don't know. He's with how much money he's set to be paid next year. I'm just not interested in him at that price point.
Diggs is
And
not. He's not coming back. I'm not gonna say he's not coming back, even though I just said it and then cut myself off. He's not coming back on this contract. They might renegotiate. They might change some things up. He's not coming back on this contract. So that's not going to happen.
When
a few people in the chat.
Oh, go ahead. Difficulty with this contract too. Like you can reduce the cap hit for this year. By reducing the cap hit this year, you're going to increase it next year, and more importantly, you're going to make it harder to move on from him next year. So anything you do, like to play with bonuses and stuff this year to reduce that cap hit, is just not. It's guaranteeing he's also on the roster in 2027, and I'm just not sure that's a move you want to make right now.
Well, and that's
how he ended the season and everything.
I agree with you. I agree with you on that part.
I think this might be the old Danny Amendola situation where they're going to go to him and they're going to say, we know that if we cut you and you went to the open market, you're not getting this much money again. So with that in mind, how about you take less money, but still more than you would have gotten
that's true.
if you hit the market, and see how that goes.
And see what happens. Yeah. A few people in the chat saying the Patriots should trade for AJ Brown, so not draft a wide receiver. But
interesting.
I think that certainly could be fascinating. Elijah Surratt's an interesting player from Indiana.
People like him too, I think, right?
Yeah. I'm curious about
he's bigger body, just 6'2", 213.
Yeah. I'm curious about corner. Can we go to corner really quick?
Well, the top player on the board here is Chris Johnson, the corner out of San Diego State, 6'0", 195.
I'm curious if Pons is there though from Indiana. Yeah. I don't know if he's there. Maybe he's just low on PFF's board. Maybe he's already been taken. I don't know. No, he's gone. Okay, never mind.
I'm very surprised that Davison Nick is so low on their board.
Yeah,
he is a dude. I mean, too many penalties. He's very physical. That's probably going to be his biggest issue, transitioning to the next level.
Yeah,
but
I'll take a guy that's a little bit extra physical. You know what I mean? So
I think that Vrabel would love him, but
yeah,
I guess not in this year. Josiah Trotter at linebacker,
Jeremiah's son. Like, come on,
6'2", 237. That's about the size they're probably looking for. It does concern me that he has a very bad coverage grade.
He's not great in coverage. He's a very good downhill run stopping linebacker who can also get after the passer. He has decent athleticism.
Yeah.
He just doesn't have a feel for the coverage. And so that's concerning to me. I like Trotter a lot. I think that could be fun, but I just don't. I think if he's not going to be good enough in coverage, and you don't think you can coach him up in coverage, I just think you can't spend a top 100 pick on him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I will say he'd probably be a scheme fit, but I also think it's tough to draft someone that high who is a liability on passing downs if he isn't rushing the passer. And the whole thing they're trying to do, I think, right now is to be able to bring blitzes from anywhere with anyone. So you need guys who are versatile.
I agree. I agree. I think honestly at this point, I think Malachi Fields is the guy. Unless there's an edge guy that you like. I like Danny.
I have
Denny Sutton.
Penn State.
Dennis Sutton, yeah, from Penn State.
6'5",
He's a guy that can get
265
after the
big
passer.
boy.
He's got some wig. He's got some bend.
Yeah.
He's got some explosion. So I like him. I think
I
he's a guy we could consider.
I haven't watched him this year, but I watched Jayshawn Barham last year from Michigan, and I liked him. And I think he's an edge in the prototype of what they're looking for right now, though he's 104 on the board. You're not taking him here.
No, of course not. Yeah, but Nnamdi Tucker's another guy too that's interesting. So I'm honestly cool with
Malachi Fields.
I think Malachi Fields is the pick.
I think we both kind of locked in on that. All right, Malachi Fields at 63.
I love Jennings Dunker, but we just drafted an offensive lineman in the first round, so we're not taking them here.
Oh,
baby. Yes.
We're both on the same thing here, right?
Yes.
Carson
Beck? No, what? I mean, that's the guy, Jacob Rodriguez. Come on. He's a fan. From Texas Tech.
Yeah. I think I tweeted it. There's a clip, a 3-play stretch in one of his games this year. I think it's the game at Arizona State, where he makes like a perfect run stuff on first down, blitzes on second down and bats down the pass. And then on third down goes hash mark to far sideline and wraps up to tackle the guy short of the sticks for the stop.
Yeah.
He's rangy. He's great in coverage. I want to see, he's one of the few guys I've actually really scouted in this class. I want to see him play better with his hands as a run defender. He just needs to be more active there. Even as a pass rusher too, he needs to learn how to use his hands a little bit better. But if you're playing match coverage on the back end, it requires that you have to mentally process a lot quickly and sort out who's going where and figure out who you're covering. And he was excellent at that.
Yeah.
From what I watched. That's exactly
I can't imagine he's going to be available at this spot.
No, if he does, he probably had a tough combine.
Yeah, I just think his tape is good enough, and the performance at the bowl, at the Senior Bowl, was good enough that I just can't imagine. And Pat Stat says he can't see him getting past 50. I think this is the pick in the second round. I don't know why he's rated this low on PFF's board.
But he's here, so we'll just run this up.
So we take him. This is what we have to do. Yes.
Yeah, that's 95. Feeling good about the top 100. We'll reset here for a second. Now we're outside the top 100. You come away with a tackle, receiver, or linebacker. Now it's just a lot of picks. 125, 131, 169, 190, 201, 208, 211, 247.
Yep. Now I get the chance to get into some of the guys that I like a little later on in the draft. This is you always kind of fall in love with those guys right away. I feel like, so yeah.
Well, all right. Let's see. Anyone calling to you right here?
I think Nicholas Singleton's interesting. I think he's a return guy as well. I think unless I'm mixing up the Penn State guys. I don't think so.
Might be confusing with someone else. Nicholas Singleton out of Penn State. Other guys on the board: Brian Parker, tackle from Duke; Brennan Thompson, receiver from Mississippi State.
Probably the fastest, maybe the fastest guy in the draft.
Jaeger Burton. Is that how you say that?
I don't know, but that's pretty.
Jaeger Burton, center from Kentucky, and Josh Cuevas, the tight end from Alabama. I think I've looked at him before. He is not a run blocker, I don't think.
No.
From what I remember, and didn't do a whole lot for them. He was someone I was interested in, I think, before the season. It didn't play the well I was looking for. Also,
goalie with the quote of the night, bang. Jordan Hudson out of SMU, just for the meme. I love it. I'm a big fan of that. By the way, not this pick, but the next pick. You already passed the guy I want, and his name is Albert Regis.
All right.
Albert Regis from Texas A&M. Here's the thing about Albert Regis that I really like.
Hold on. Let's not put the car before. If we said that's going to be the next pick.
Sorry.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Le'Veon Moss is the kind of name that comes up in in Madden 10 years into the future.
Yep.
In franchise mode. Anyone here calling to you?
I mean, not really. Yeah, Royer's fine.
It's a weird.
This is a weird spot to be in.
I do wonder. Brennan Thompson. He's small.
He's small, but he's fast. He's just small.
Kind of clicking through these guys' profiles.
Yeah, I wonder.
I don't hate running back here one bit, especially we just had that Antonio Gibson being gone. You're outside the top 100.
Yeah. Singleton. So Katron Allen and Nicholas Singleton are the two running backs from Penn State, I believe.
And they're both kind of right here.
Yeah, I believe it's Singleton is yeah, the freaks list. He's the guy that I'm thinking of. Okay.
He's a freak athlete?
Yes, exceptional burst through the line, elite
we
top
take him
end
then?
speed. Oh
That
my
fits.
lord, 23.6 miles per hour on GPS. 23.6 and special teams value as a kick returner. Bang.
Oh, and this
Put
is
it in.
they kind of. I think Elliot Wolf kind of talked today about how they want guys who can be like big play guys at running back. So
Yep.
we'll just do that. Nicholas Singleton. All right, Albert Regis.
Albert
We already
Regis,
know this
so-
is the pick 131. Give us the lowdown.
Yes. So here's the deal. He's interior defensive lineman, 6'1", 317. 6'1", small, but 317, fantastic run defender. Just a solid player. But this is where for me that I like him a lot. Was named the 2024 SEC Community Service Team, dedicated over 40 hours at Twin City Mission in Bryan, and participated in gift distribution to pediatric cancer patients at MD Hospital in Houston. Also spent time speaking to elementary schools about the importance of education and effort, earning the team's Academic Excellence Award at the 2024 team banquet. So, like, he's just a guy that, like, he's smart. He plays well. He has, like, really high football IQ. That's the type of guy that I like, that I think that they like as well.
Yeah.
And so, look, I'm actually hoping that he's a little bit further down the board. I'm actually surprised that PFF has him so high on their board. He was a guy that I was considering for like the 5th, 6th round. I think if you look at him on the mock draft database, and again, mock draft database isn't perfect, but it's the one that I use the most. If you look at him in mock draft database, he's significantly lower on there. I think he's like, I don't even know. Hold on. Let me D-line. He is 187. So it's not significantly lower, but it's a good amount lower, 50 lower. So anyways, I love the kid. I think that he's a fit for what the Patriots do. I think he's a fit for what the Patriots want. And so that's my pitch.
All right. I'm sold. Albert Regis it is. We'll do that at 131.
I love it.
169, we got a couple of offensive linemen at the top of PFF's board. Drew Shelton, tackle out of Penn State. Armage Reed Adams, guard out of Texas A&M. We got two. They got Harold Perkins listed as a linebacker here. I think he might be an edge rusher. I don't know. But Matt Llewellyn out of Iowa and Harold Perkins out of LSU there. And then a tight end, Miles Kitzelman from Tennessee. That's your top 5 on the board. Man,
Okay.
I'm clicking into every one of these tight ends to see what their run block grade is, and everyone is awful. Everyone.
Yeah, no, don't worry. We're going to get one. We're going to get one just later. We're going to get a blocking tight end, but we're going to do that later.
All right, can I throw my hat in the ring here?
Do
Poor
it.
Guy. I think we do the Keyshawn Booty pick again, except it's Harold Perkins Jr.
Yeah.
Perkins is someone who was elite his first year, like a dominant pass rusher, got hurt, didn't play as well last year. Like, there was defensive scheme changes, so they didn't know where to put him. He's undersized for a pass rusher, most definitely. 6'1", 222. Like, he's a small guy, but he's quick. He's twitchy. I think in this scheme at this point in the draft, if he's healthy now, this is the kind of athlete I'm just willing to bet on turning into something.
Yep. I could not agree more. Not agree more. I'm totally down with Harold Perkins here.
All right. That's 169. 190. Got a pair of tight ends at the top. John Michael Gillenborg from Wyoming and Daquan Wright from Ole Miss.
Okay.
edge defender George Gums Jr. from Florida, and defensive lineman DeMonte Capehart from
What is
Clemson.
going? This is like a Key and Peele sketch.
Yeah, these are insane names. And then Xavier Thomas, for wide receiver from LSU. That George Gums, Gumbs Jr. That's incredible, man.
It's a good one.
That's an awesome name.
Yep. And by the way, Pat Sats does mention it. Like, he's talking about Perkins in this case. His knee might be FUBAR, and if that's the case, then obviously you can't draft him. But the Patriots will know that. We don't know that. There's no way for us to know that. The Patriots will know that. You know, if they're serious about him, then bring him in for a top 30 visit and probably put him through some things and kind of see where that goes from there. So that's what I would think, at least.
Yeah. I will say we also thought that, you know, some of the medicals with Booty maybe FUBAR, and he ended up all right. So
that's true. Yep, that's definitely true.
Yep.
So
let's see.
I'm
Xavier
okay.
Thomas.
I think Oscar Delp isn't a bad pick here. He's not a great run blocker, but he's not like the worst run blocker in the world. He's an inline tight end.
6'5", 245. He's got some size to him.
Yeah. So I think he's a decent player. I think if we're looking for a tight end here, I think that would make a ton of sense.
You can kind of move him around too.
Yeah.
He's interesting. I will.
The other guy,
his PFF grades are just not impressive.
No, the other guy is Will Kaepernick. Is the guy from Ohio State that I really want, who's really more of a blocking tight end than he is anything else. And he's probably way down the list, I would imagine, because he's mostly a blocking tight end. And so
I'm gonna throw another name out at you here. I don't know if we're gonna take him here, but Carson Ryan at BYU. I've been able to get my hands on film of him, but just look at the production here: 620 receiving yards at BYU as a tight end last year, which is very good.
Yeah,
was also one of the best run blocking tight ends.
Yep,
in football.
So I'm
if he's older, 6'4", 250, redshirt senior. I think if he tests well, he's someone that's very quickly going to come up the board. Is Tanner Arkin? I think he's a blocker too. Yeah, out of Illinois. Also a bigger guy. And then he's listed as a tight end. Max Bredesen out of Michigan. I think he's actually a fullback.
He is, yeah. He's an interesting guy too. Yeah,
he's someone I like. So maybe we pass on tight end here and just take one of these blockers later.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
We have not gone. I think corner is potentially a need here for this team.
I would agree with you too. Devin Marshall's not terrible. Can we see the list of corners?
Yes, we can.
Let's just isolate that. Just trying to see. Yeah. Harvey. Ooh, Devonta Smith is available. If he's any as good as his namesake, I mean, like, you know, what the heck.
I don't know anything about Devon Marshall, but I will say this profile is interesting to me.
Similar to, it looks pretty good, right? You know, decent grades against pretty good competition, you know, for the most part.
And he's got the
solid competition.
He's got the size you like too. 5'11", 200 is about exactly what I like.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's a few guys that I like. Pawns, again, like I said, is a guy that I like a lot. He wasn't available to us. Dalen Everett is a guy that I like, but he's gone already as well. So,
Devin Marshall?
I'm cool with that. Yeah, let's do Devin Marshall.
All right. Now, 201. I do think this is where it gets interesting, where you could start thinking about taking a quarterback too as a backup, just because you have so many picks in this range.
I agree too. I agree with that as
well.
well.
I don't like Jalen Daniels, but
no, but six flat. No, thank you, sir.
Jeremiah right guard from Auburn is one of the top guys here. 6'5", 348. That's a big guy.
He's a big boy. He's a big boy. Yeah.
HKC tackle from Boise State. He grades out really well. 6'5", 311. I'm going to guess, just based on these numbers and this draft stock, that his athleticism is not anything special.
You would think not, no, and especially with the lower competition. I am curious about, can we go back to defensive line? Oh God, defensive line.
Capehart?
No, just like defensive line in general. There's a guy in particular that I'm actually really. So there's two guys that I like quite a bit.
Landon Robinson, one of them.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He's actually the guy that I really like the most. There's another guy as well, Caleb Proctor, but I think Caleb Proctor from Southeast Louisiana, I think is probably already off the board. But Landon Robinson is that like prototypical, like you want a penetrator, a small, right? He's
6'0",
undersized,
287.
but he went to the Shrine Bowl and dominated the Shrine Bowl to the point where they were like, okay, you're going to the Senior Bowl. Then he went to the Senior Bowl and dominated the one-on-ones of the Senior Bowl too. He's not even a combine invite. He's not even invited to the combine. He's just like that type of athlete where he's like impossible to block. He's like an attacking style, went to Navy. Like he's just so much. You watch like the film on him and you're like, who is this guy? He's unbelievable. So he's a guy I really like a lot.
Let's
they
do
have
it.
a million picks here. So let's take him. Pat Stat did mention Casey as well, who we pulled up. You know, maybe we want to take a shot at Casey at guard.
I don't hate that because I think we can get Landon Robinson later. And I agree. Okay, Cage Casey from Boise State.
So maybe he's saying he's a top 20 O lineman. It could be a very good guard. So
okay.
So
the other one I was looking at, Jeremiah Wright. Like we've been saying they need beef on the line.
Yeah,
6'5", 348.
Yeah, I mean I'm okay with that too. I don't care. That's fine with me. Either one's fine.
We got someone in the comments saying Cage Casey.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah. And it's Pat Stats, so let's get that. Let's figure that out. Peter says, "When's the last time?"
We could get Jeremiah Wright here too if we wanted.
He said, "When's the last time Navy let a guy delay his commission?" They actually have already approved the delay for his commission. Him and there's another draftable guy from Navy that also they've already delayed his commission as well. So,
all right,
there is that. Now, what we could also do, if you wanted that other guard, we could do that. We have a draft pick and 4 picks. If you wanted the other guard, we could do that as well.
I'm down.
To add guard, to the beef on
and
the
then we can go
line.
Landon Robinson, and then we can add a blocking tight end.
I like that.
All right, Jeremiah Wright here at 208. Then we are going to go to defensive line. We are going to add Landon Robinson at 211. That rounds out our 6th round picks. Now we're down to 247. Let's look at some tight ends here. Carson Ryan is someone I just really like the profile on.
Let's do it. And to mention, and Pat Stats also mentions too that Ryan is also only 22. Yeah. Typically, the BYU guys are older than that. He isn't. And so, that's an interesting trait as well. He's not, it's not like we're drafting Mesidor, who's 25. He's still only 22.
Yeah. I'd like just look at the number. The contested catch rate is poor. Everything else here is good, and you're seeing him do it against some decent competition here in the Big 12. So
yeah, no, I like.
I have not been able to get my hands on the BYU film yet to watch him.
But that's okay. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. All right. That is our first draft of the year.
Make sure you take a screenshot of that or save it or whatever so we can tweet it out.
I'll download that after. So rounding out the draft, a lot of picks. These mock drafts are going to be long this year, guys.
Yeah.
We've got at pick 31, Monroe Freeling, tackle out of Georgia. Pick 63, wide receiver Malachi Fields out of Notre Dame. 95, linebacker Jacob Rodriguez out of Texas Tech. 125, halfback Nicholas Singleton out of Penn State. 131, defensive lineman Albert Regis out of Texas A&M. 169, linebacker Harold Perkins out of LSU. 190, corner Devin Marshall out of North Carolina State. 201, tackle Cage Casey out of Boise State. 208, guard Jeremiah Wright out of Auburn. 211, defensive lineman Landon Robinson from Navy. And 247, tight end Carson Ryan out of BYU. They give us a B in the bottom 28% of Patriots drafts, Pat. That seems harsh.
That's okay. I'm all right with that. They're going to give Landon Robinson a D. They're going to give Malachi Fields a D. I think that's crazy, but what are you going to do?
And for people interested, that's for freezing this for a second. That's what the first round looks like.
Yeah, Mesidor goes 27. Lee Hunter goes 25. Lee Hunter's an interesting guy too.
Mesidor to San Francisco, I think makes a ton of sense.
I think so too. I agree with you there.
The Bucs going wide receiver again with Jordan Tyson is hilarious, but this is the world where Mike Evans moves on.
100%. Yeah, and I think he probably will move on. I think the Lions taking a tackle makes no sense here, but
Well, they got.
I guess they don't have. Do they have a left tackle right now?
Dan Skipper, I think, retired, right?
Yeah, but he wasn't their starter. Who's their starting?
No, but I think they need some depth long term.
Yeah, it's true. I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing interesting. I want to mention the Mike Evans thing for a second here, just because I think it's worth talking about for us.
Yeah.
I think a world where the Patriots move on from Stephon Diggs and sign Mike Evans is not out of the realm of possibility here. And I look at it, because I think you could copy and paste a very similar deal to what Diggs got and give it to Evans, probably shorter term. He's around the same age, also coming off injury stuff. He was not the same guy last year. Also, what Mike Evans averaged in yards per game last year would have been the second best receiver on the Patriots last season.
Right.
He's experienced championships. He's a big body, outside the numbers guy. You could, in theory, plug and play him at X. Then Kayshon Boutte goes to the Z. Pop Douglas can go in the slot. These guys fit really well, and then you draft someone like we did in this.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I don't hate it. I certainly don't hate it. And you hope, that Kyle Williams and Elliot Wolf mentioned it this week or today, yesterday, whenever it was, that they're expecting a little bit more from Kyle Williams next year too. They want to get a little bit stronger and kind of, go from there. So a few things here. Pat Stat said, Landon Robinson could also play fullback. It's interesting. I didn't even know that. So I like that. Peter says it was a cool, fun draft. So how about that?
Yeah. Glad you enjoyed.
So yeah. So thanks for tuning in, everyone. I guess so. Thursday night we'll be back.
I believe that's the plan.
I think that's the plan. Thursday night. So we'll be back. Matt is one of us is working on a 7-round mock draft that's going to release on Pat's Bowl.
Someone's going to have one.
We'll have one out this week for you guys. We'll talk about that a little bit, as well as some stuff we see from the combine, and I'm sure you'll hear from more people as well. So, so we'll have some more Patriots news, and we'll kind of go from there. So, anyways, thanks for tuning in. There was one question before we leave. One question, and I can't find it. I'm not gonna pull it up. But someone asked about Isaiah Likely. Do you think that's likely?
Likely.
That's so good.
Yeah, man, that's gonna get a lot of mileage this offseason all around.
Sure
the
is.
NFL. So
yeah.
Shout out to editors everywhere with that one. I gotta watch more Isaiah Likely, but from what I remember watching of him, he's not a bad player. I'm just not sure he fits what the Patriots need.
Yeah.
If they sign him, I won't be upset. I also wouldn't necessarily consider him a priority.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Yeah. It's cool that he's from Boston. It's from Massachusetts. Like, that's cool, but I don't know,
I just think you need like a better athlete, people move for a tight end if you can get one.
Yeah.
Unlikely.
I agree. So we'll see. But anyways, all right, that's what we got, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. And we'll see you on Thursday night. Be good to each other and go Pats.